It's the vibe, and today I'm going to be talking about money, what it's like to navigate money as an artist, what it's like to start off making art as an artist, and how to juggle the financial responsibilities of life that you're inevitably going to come across. Okay, so there's two main paths, and when I say artists, I mean musicians, directors, painters, whatever you do, right? Whatever creative craft you engage with consistently. So there's two main paths to navigate money. One, there's the path of stability, and then there's also the path of complete creative freedom. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is because a little while ago, someone who I just recently met was trying to get advice from me on how to navigate money because they want to be a fashion designer and they don't want to be a starving artist. Pretty decent thing to not want to be as a starving artist. I would not recommend it, okay? But they essentially, if I was going to boil down what they were asking me, they were essentially saying, how can I do the thing that I want to do and not have to worry about money, which is the dream. But if I was going to boil it down, that was like the ideal question that they were essentially pointing at. And the truth is, unless you get really lucky through some sort of like connection, finances, like you're born rich, blah, 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 like the all like highly lucky things, you have one of two paths to take. I mentioned this earlier, the stability path and the creative freedom path. Either of these two work, and before I get into like articulating the benefits and negatives of these two paths, I need to really highlight this is a particularly individualistic choice, right? There's no one person can tell you which path to take because at the end of the day, they're a mix of each other, but also you have to pick the one that works best for the type of person you are and the type of person you're wired to be. For example, I am the creative freedom path, and what that means is I'm broke, right? But we're gonna get into the stability path first, which is essentially having like a stable source of income, getting a job. One of my friends, DJ the Artist, I think is a really good example of that. I'll link some of his stuff in the description, but he had a really nice paying tech job for 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. Got paid really, really well. And he's now, over the last six months, decided to go full-time rapper, full-time artist. And I think he's like a really ideal version of the artist who decides to be really financially secure and then put time and energy into art. And it's not as though like he wasn't making art while he was working his tech job, but it's just that most of his days were spent on his 9 to 5, were spent on the thing that was making a lot of money, and then where he could, he was putting time and energy into the art. And so that's the trade-off there with the stability path. I'm sure it's really intuitive. You understand this to a degree. You get that financial stability, but you also get to spend less time doing the thing that you probably want to do. And if you play that game like well, for example, like my friend DJ the Artist, you can get to a point where you're financially well off enough that you can just go full time as an artist, and then you won't have to worry about money because you manage your money well. On the other side, there's reckless idiots like me who can't stand that, who have to essentially go all in 100% on the thing they want to do, essentially because I can't stand doing work that isn't the work that I want to do for whatever reason. It's just how I'm wired to be. And it also so happens that on this fully creative path, or fully like creative freedom path, where the benefit is you get to spend time doing whatever you want in the way that you want to do it and as much time as you want doing that thing. The negative is, of course, you have much less financial stability, security, and that could come with a bunch of other negatives, like not good healthcare. That sucks. Not being able to afford food. That's not a good one. That being said, it is apparent to me that I'm wired in a particular way as to which I can experience being a starving artist, and that actually hurts existentially. That hurts me less than doing work that I don't want to do every day for financial security and stability. So like this path that I'm on, the full creative freedom path, sucks in terms of stability, but also if you're the type of person who's going to take that path, it's probably because you could manage it anyway, to one degree or another. Like I want way more money. At the same time, if I'm broke but get to do the things that I want, I'm kind of okay with that. And so those are like the two main paths that creatives can go on if you weren't born into a particularly lucky circumstance. The funny thing about these two paths is that they both somewhat converge over time, I find. The person who starts off with a really secure job will slowly start navigating themselves towards creating more at the cost of making less money. And the person who's 100% creatively free will slowly start articulating their work in a way that's like focused on earning money, which might actually limit some of your full authentic creative expression. You start making work that you wouldn't do if it weren't for the money, right? Working on projects that you wouldn't do if you weren't getting paid. And so there's this funny thing where they both kind of converge, but whichever path you start on kind of has a dominance. It's like it's like any like personality trait. Essentially, it's just extrapolated into the path you take as an artist, where you can develop the weaker side per se, but that like core foundational path or quality or trait that you have is going to be like the more dominant aspect, more developed version of how you come across and exist. And so if you're an artist right now, a director, writer, producer, fashion designer, bibbity bobbity boo, whatever you are creatively, and you're like really trying to get into the weeds of how do I not end up broke? I don't want to be broke, but also I want to spend my time making art that I care about. What do I do? How do I navigate it? I would really ask yourself, I would urge you to ask yourself, on the spectrum of super secure, stable artist to 100% creatively free artist, where do you lie? Because it's not like I would say I'm an extremist in the way that I really am super broke just so I can put all my time into making the stuff that I want to make. And so I'm really far over here. Well, maybe you're someone who actually does want to be really far on this side. Maybe you have a very stable, secure job and then you make art on the side. Or maybe all the art that you make is specifically designed to get you paid. And so maybe you're not making the stuff that you want to make, but you're getting paid for the work that you do. Or more than likely though, you're somewhere in the middle and you really need to just ask yourself, what do I value more? The financial security to then make art, or the creative freedom to make whatever I want regardless of my circumstance? I didn't really work these ideas out. I'm kind of just talking from my own experience. So forgive me if this is a little disorganized. That being said, I do want to pivot this channel and pivot these regular videos to be really focused on building a community of artists. So if you're an artist in any way or you're engaging with the creative act, subscribe, leave a like. It's the vibe. Thank you for watching. Babadoo boo bada biddy ding.